Testing. All new stuff going on here. Let me know if you can hear me. I've got a new little mic. I'm in a whole new place with all new everything, and I'm not 100% sure everything works. Akio Bonner, can you hear me? There is a 10-second, hi Wicca. There is a 10-second delay on typing to keep out the trolls. Akio Bonner says yes. Okay, I can't believe I got this to work the first time. All right. Well, as you can see, I'm no longer in my boat. I've got my little boat for sale, and we can hear you. All right, perfect. I've got the little boat for sale, and Blaine and I have bought this little house, and I've got all new equipment coming for a real podcast. We're going to somehow set it up in this little house. Oh, I'm gonna have to quit doing that. So, anyways, yeah, the boat's for sale. We are still in Florida. I hesitate to even say where in Florida because I've had so many trolls. Like I've had loads and loads and loads of trolls, and I don't even know why my channels hasn't. I've been kind of dead here lately. It hasn't really been doing much, but I guess people are still coming after me. They're still really upset. I might get to the comment section eventually. If you are new to my stream, um, please do not ask how's Parker, how are the kids, because Parker and the kids are fine. They're all doing well. Everyone's doing fine. Everybody's grown and everyone's going their own way. Blaine happens to live with me right now. And speaking of Blaney Boo, Blaine has had my ass in the gym. I've been going to the gym for yesterday was 3 months straight, 6+ days a week. And I don't know if you remember, but back in August, I made a video of my gut. Went and saw the kids and dropped my truck off and gave that to Parker. And I was holding myself accountable. And if you go back and watch it, I ballooned up to 221 pounds. And I'm here to say now that I'm down to 205 and a half. And I'm really excited about that. Right after that, I went into Anchor, and I didn't get on the scale, but I probably went a little bit higher. I dare say I might have hit even 230, maybe. Maybe not that big, but anyway, I don't know why I had it in my head that if I could just get away from everything, and again, I don't regret doing it, but I thought if I could just get away from everything, like everything, and I did that, I'm recovered drinking and all that, and the weight would fall off. And maybe when I was in my 20s or 30s, that would be the case. But when you hit my age 44, I'll be 45 in April. Holy crap, I'm getting old. That's messing with my head. And I just thought for some reason it was just going to fall off, and it doesn't. It takes a lot of hard work. And so, that being said, that chapter of my life is past, just like the old chapters when the kids were young and I was fighting the crooked family courts and protesting there at the Nick's hospital. And I'm still somewhat protesting deadbeat Ken Paxton, but I'm not going to just harp on it all the time. I'm going to bring it up occasionally because it's just something that I enjoy. And but as much as I may enjoy politics, I know not everybody here necessarily agrees with my politics. And I'm not even saying I'm always right on my politics, but we will talk. I do plan on talking about certain current events, not necessarily today. I may get to it a little bit here and there. If you'd have to be under a rock to not know that the world's in a big old mess right now, off with the masks and on with the war. I don't want to really talk about that just yet, but we may get there. I do plan on having. I've ordered a lot of equipment, like a lot of equipment. Fortunately, I dipped into my crypto, and crypto has just been done. Lately, it's been a little down, but over the past year and a half since I got sober, it's gone up significantly, and it's really helped out a lot. It's nothing to write home about. It certainly isn't any something to replace what the family court crooks stole from me and my kids all those years. But I'm happy to have had a little nest egg. And I know this may be controversial, but God bless Amazon. I just love Amazon. You can get all the coolest things in the world. In the old days, Walmart had everything. Walmart ain't got nothing compared to Amazon. I've got cameras coming. I've got mixer boards coming. I've got microphones and headphones. I even bought a new computer. Well, it's actually it's used, but it's refurbished. It's an Apple. They say it comes in the box. It's professionally cleaned and upgraded. I'm on an Apple. At the moment, I'm using my camera that's in my little Mac, and I've had this for about 8 years. I'm kind of surprised it still works. It acts up sometimes, but I ordered, it's called an iMac. And I know that Apple people are just going to laugh at me like, duh, but it's just a big old 27-inch screen, and that's it with the keyboard and the mouse. There's the whole computer's built into it. So to me, that's exciting. Again, I've got various cameras coming. I really want to set this up nice. This little tiny house it's not much. It's much better than the boat. There's a lot more room in the boat than in the boat. But this tiny little house, it'll suffice for now. But man, the housing. I don't know where you're from, but the housing in Florida, holy moly, it is unbelievable. You can't find anything like anything. And the prices have doubled just in the last couple of years, and it's just getting worse. People are moving here like crazy. Oh my goodness, is Hayden in the room? I just got off the phone with Hayden. I see someone's, as a Wicca says, hi Hayden. Where is Haney? I don't even know what his username is. Is Hayden in there? Where is he? Sean Martin, Hayden says hi. Where is he? Hayden. Well, I don't know what his username is, so I don't even. My own son's in there somewhere, or he's listening, and I just think that's so cool. Maybe one of these days, little Hananil, who's not so little anymore, will. Actually, all three of my kids are bigger than me. They're all taller than me. My fat ass outweighs a lot of them, but I'm moving. I'm getting it down. But Haney, maybe someday he could come help the old man out, please. Blaine is camera shy. He does not like to be on camera, so you're not going to be seeing him as of yet. He is interested in, look at the engineering side of things and see how things work. Because I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot of work. This light that I've got on me, I can't bring it around, but it's this big ring light. It's like that big. It's just this big ring. You can kind of see the shadow. That's how big it is. So I've got that big light, and there's even controls on it. You can get real dim and real bright. And this thing I'm recording on, I got a lavalier mic, which before this I didn't even know what a lavalier mic was, but it's plugged in. I don't know if you can see it. That's my H4N Pro. I've taught myself how to put this through this. I can record it. I'm not recording now, it's just going live, but through here into the computer. And I'm just kind of old school, an old school mechanic. I started off with mechanics, and that's all I did. Back when I started off, there's no such thing in my field as computers and equipment. You didn't hook computers up to engines. That came later, and I was reluctant to ever learn it. But now that I've decided what I want to do, what I want to try, um, I'm diving in head first. And being sober has helped tremendously. God almighty, I'm so embarrassed about how much I used to drink. It's just, oh, I'm 18 months now. It's completely dry, sober. One of these days, I might get Blaine to pop his little head in here, and he's lived with me for like the last 4 months. He can confirm. Yep, the old man really is sober, because when you're in a boat, 29-foot full keel boat, there's not a lot of room, and you bring just me in there, that's fine. Me and another grown man. Blaine's, like I said, he's 6'2", and he's ripped, like ripped. We made it work, but it was a learning experience, and we had a lot of good times. Or I can't speak for him, but I had a good time. But there just wasn't a lot of room. But now there's a lot of room, and I'm being sober, and I'm just excited to be able to look at something like this with, there's, I don't know, a dozen different buttons and stuff on there that I wouldn't have had a clue, not a clue how that stuff worked back in the day. But now, um, I'm getting the hang of it. I was raised on Windows as far as whenever computers came around. Windows was my thing, and then I bought an iPhone. That the iPhone is the only smartphone I've ever had, so I know how to use it. But the this is only 8 years old. I've had computers, as long as anybody else, but I always had, PC, Windows based. But all this is all Mac, Apple stuff, and it's similar, but it's different. So I'm learning, and I've been tossing up and down. Do I go with Mac? Do I go with Windows? Which one do I get? And my friend out of California, Dwayne, y'all have heard me talk about it in the past, DSD, Dad Surviving Divorce. He is an Apple guy. And he said, "Oh man, Apple all the way." And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you can help me figure this out." And he said he could. So I've got that ordered. Really excited to get that. Um, let's see, what was I going to talk about? I didn't write anything down because I've got this makeshift studio thing I've got going. But oh, for the love of God, I did not delete or block anybody on Facebook. I deleted Facebook. Facebook was really, really fun back in the day. Originally, way back in the day, uh, when my kids were all young. The fact is, whenever I got divorced, '07, this thing called, '07, there's this thing called MySpace. And MySpace was like really cool. There's like, looking back, I'm like, man, we really didn't have a lot to complain about. It was a little wonky. You had to, like, we all like became sort of nerds. You got to write certain code to make things come up and pop up. But that was really cool for like a year or two or maybe three. And then boom, Facebook came around, and it was really fun. It was like it made it so much more user friendly. Unfortunately, as with most things, the new has worn off. Facebook is just, people call it fascist book. They call it, Fed book. It's, it even amazes me. I've been aware of how awful Facebook is for a while now. I mean, even back in 2017, when I was fighting my ass off to get custody of Blaine, I was getting 30-day bans left and right. And I remember one time my attorney asked me something about a Facebook post. And I'm like, shit, Gavin, I don't know. I was in Facebook jail for 6 months out of the year. I mean, I don't know. But I held on, and it just got to where it didn't it wasn't as exciting as I didn't get out of it what I wanted. And I've started noticing even more and more how Facebook is just manipulative. And I, of all people, cannot stand being manipulated. And I knew it was happening, but it was just, I guess I've got an addictive personality, but so does, I don't know how many other hundreds of millions of users. They've got the addictive personality as well. They gripe about it, but until here lately, no one was leaving. About 3 weeks ago, I don't know if you watched the news, but Facebook stock dropped like 20%. Like, I don't know how many billions or hundreds of billions. Oh, Zuckerberg lost, but I saw that and I thought, I'm really not surprised. The only thing that surprises me is it took this long. They're just so terrible. I guess in my case, I've got a lot of really nice people here. Oh my goodness, Miss Mary's here. She's one of my best Facebook friends. We talked all the time. But it got to where it was just it has a hold on people. And I just deleted it the other day. I'll say the other day, about 2.5 weeks ago, about a week or so before I moved in. We moved in here. The light switched, kind of like when I quit drinking, when I just said, fuck this, and I put it down. It was the same with Facebook. I finally just said, I don't care what the benefits are. Everyone always says when I've talked about this, well, I keep Facebook for marketplace. Well, I keep Facebook to keep in touch with the kids, or there's always an excuse. And there are still some benefits to Facebook. I'm not gonna lie, there are. It's neat, but they've dug their feelers just in every orifice and every sensing emotion that you have so deep that I don't think most people, even people I would assume would know better. I don't think they quite realize how much of a grip that damn thing has on them. And I'll give an example. I'm not going to name names, but it hurts my feelings. But people that I know personally are pissed at me because they assume that I blocked them. I didn't just not log in anymore. I didn't just leave it up where anybody wanted to check on me or see what I'm up to. Oh, I hadn't seen Caleb's bullshit rants for a while, or his bullshit, shit posting. I deleted it. Like, I think I can access it if I really wanted to. Like I could bring it up, and I'm going to when I get the new computer. I might bring it up and down. I got a lot of pictures on there of me and the kids and some of the stunts that I pulled, and I'd like to get all that. I don't have really a way to hold it this little computer, but I will in the new one. In fact, I just had an idea. If I can get on it and I can figure out how to do it, maybe I'll just go live one day in my new studio. And I don't even know how to bring up like like you see these podcasts have been around a long time, and these YouTubers, some of these YouTubers young as my kids, they've got all this flashy stuff, and they got little pictures that come up here, and they can play clips. I don't even know how to do all that, but I will. Anyway, I may just delete like download all my shit from Facebook while I'm on a live or something, and then just. Oh, speak of the devil, there's DSD. There's Dwayne right there. Dwayne, I was talking about you a minute ago. You hope your ears weren't burning. But yeah, I may just nuke it. Metaphorically speaking, it's just a joke. Censorship, people. It's just a joke. It's just sarcasm. I'm not going to harm anybody except maybe Mark Zuckerberg's pocketbook and his ego, maybe. But yeah, just Facebook is just it wasn't serving me well. The benefits column is like down to here, and the fuck yous are like way up here. And so I just deleted it, and I didn't give a warning. I didn't make an announcement like some of these attention whores love to do. Some people arguably say I'm an attention whore, but when you're an activist, that's kind of the point. But I didn't make a big to do about it. I just deleted the damn thing, and I don't regret it. I've gotten on Twitter. I mean, I've heard the horror stories about Twitter, but so far I don't really have much of a reach on Twitter. They've not really messed with me. I've posted my opinions and my libertarian / libertarian anarchist ideals and memes, and I hadn't any problem. Again, I don't have that much of a reach on there, so maybe that's the reason. But when Instagram, which I'm also still pretty much on it, and yes, I know Instagram is owned by the same people as Facebook, and I get that, but um, for the moment, Instagram and Twitter for day to day stuff is fine for me to keep up with people. But what I was getting, the point I was trying to make about it, people that I know personally, I found out are freaking mad at me. They think I blocked them. And I would have thought they would have known better. I get banned all the time. Is it any shocker that I just decided to delete the damn thing? If you try to look me up, there might be some other profiles out there, but they're not me. But people are genuinely, these are people I know. Like I've shaken their hands, I've touched them. We know each other, and they're mad at me. They think that I got mad just one day and just, oh, he said something, she said something that I just don't agree with. I'll block you. It's not that at all. It's not even close to that. I just deleted it. And that's the point I'm trying to make is that the grip that app, that social media nightmare has got, that is the reality that some people have, that if someone deletes you off Facebook, that must mean they don't like you. What in the world? Can you imagine playing this video, like send this back to 1995 and playing this video? Anybody be watching it, be like, what in the fuck is this futuristic bullshit face? What? App? Self? What? What are you talking about? And believe it or not, Dwayne and Mary, I know you, since I know y'all can attest to this. Back then, before there's such thing as social media, we did things and we had fun and we just went out and talked to people. And if we wanted to go see someone on the other side of the world, we picked up the phone and either pushed the buttons, or some of us even oldest remember the old rotary phones. You just call them. You just call them across the country and get on a $50 plane ticket and cross the country and go see them. And life was fine without Facebook. It was just okay. I mean, I'm not shitting on technology. I mean, I'm talking to y'all on technology, and I've got technology all around me. The air conditioning in this little tiny house is amazing. You couldn't. I don't see how there wouldn't be this many people in Florida if there's no such thing as air conditioning. So I'm not shitting on technology, but there's just something about Facebook, and it just gets its tentacles in you and it grows around your brain and your heart. And I just don't see it as a positive force for humanity anymore. I really don't. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life, is if it's not a positive force and makes me feel better, helping my kids or helping someone else, and if it doesn't overall help humanity, I'm just really not interested. And I'm not going to promote it anymore. I'm not going to use it. And I mean, it's had its run. Jesus Christ. It's been around, well, at least what, 13, 14 years? I got it in '08, I think, as long as I've had this channel. But, it's had its run. It lasted a lot longer than, oh, uh, my mind just went blank. What's the other one? I just said it. Tom, MySpace. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. It lasted a lot longer than MySpace lasted. So they've made their money. You will be fine if you delete Facebook. There are other places for marketplace. It's going to be a little weird, but coming from somebody like me I used to go to sleep by sucking on alcohol. If I can quit that and quit Facebook, anybody can quit anything. Just delete it. And yes, arguably, some people say the same thing about YouTube, and YouTube does do a lot of censoring. I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but there are other outlets out there. In this podcast, I'm not going to be dependent on just on YouTube. I plan on going through, I don't know, Spotify and whatever. I don't even know. I just know that there Rumble. I know there's a lot of other platforms out there that there is a need and a demand for podcasting. There's a need and a demand for talking to other people. I totally get that. I just think that whatever Facebook has become, that ain't it. That ain't what we need, in my opinion. So I'm gonna read a couple of comments. See, it just seems Caleb Everett. There's so much toxic stuff on Facebook. It's just weird. Absolutely. It doesn't seem so toxic. YouTube, you can still find good stories and information on there. It's different than Facebook and even TikTok. Yeah, I God bless the TikTokers. They keep my story alive, and which is fortunate and unfortunate. I've talked about that a lot. The fact that it's still there. I mean, it's not the most. It's none of our brightest days, but at the same time, there's other kids that are turning 14 this year. Every single year, they're going through the same crap, and I do get a lot of appreciation, a lot of like warms my cold heart, as Judge Billingsley would say. It warms my cold heart to see that both parents and kids alike watch our story and they get inspired, and they don't just talk about it. They get out there and they do action. They make game plans. They watch our story and they get with the parent that they prefer to be with. If there's a bunch of conflict there, whether it's mom or dad, it doesn't matter. Whether it's the son or the daughter, it doesn't matter, or both. And they get with the parent that they want to live with or prefer, and they watch our channel together, and they make up, a game plan and figure out what they want to do to, use a little bit what I did, use a little bit what a lot of people have done, and they make a game plan. So I just think that's really cool. I always have. But anyway, that's my rant um, on Facebook. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I want to touch the whole Ukraine Russia thing. I mean, I do. I've got my opinions. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit. I've got to be careful what I say because I don't know. All this is still new. The whole conflict, well, the conflict itself is really, really old. What we are shown is really, really new. But I can say this: be careful what you hear about either side, whatever side you're on. If you're watching this from the United States, you could more than likely be thinking, okay, deliver, if you're not all for Ukraine, then you're fucking stupid and crazy and how dare you and fuck Putin and blah, blah, blah. And if you're watching this from other parts of the world, they are being shown other information from different sides. Whether or not you agree with it or I agree with it is irrelevant. This whole censorship thing and shutting certain people up, that is an age old tactic that the powers that be have used forever and ever and ever, silencing the dissenters. I don't know the full details of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. I don't. I've watched it some, like everybody else, but my grandfather used to tell me when I was a little kid, and I didn't understand what he meant back then the way I do now. He used to tell me, and I don't remember exactly verbatim, but something to the effect, Caleb, when you see everybody else going north, I've had better luck going south. Sometimes it's easier to not fight the current. I get that and go with the flow. But sometimes you can look around and you step back from the mind bend, the brainwashing, and if you'll step back and look at something outside these blinders, and if you step back, like with Bitcoin, like Bitcoin people say, "Oh, look at it, it's going down, it's junky, people just lost 30%." Well, if you zoom out on that graph, it changes. If you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, what's being censored, one of the telltale signs for me, and I've made this very clear, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican. Just here lately, since the world got turned upside down in February of 2020, I just happen to, on most of the major issues, I happen to mostly agree with what the Republican Party says. Not to say that I endorse them all. Hell, Ken Paxton is one, and I'm one of the first motherfuckers out there saying, because I can't stand him. I don't care what the party says to do. Oh, you can't say that about Ken Paxton. Okay? Well, that's the downside of being in a party is you're chained to them. They have a narrative, whether you want to believe it or not. All groups do, and it's more than just political parties. It's social networks within your own town. Within everybody knows that one person. Actually, it's with almost anybody. You know how you can act and how you can't act around certain people. Like when you're young, you act one way with when you're around grandma, and you act another way when you're around your rowdy friends. I've kind of got off a little bit, but my point is just don't believe necessarily everything you see in the news, especially the mainstream. And the kicker is that's where I was going with this. The kicker is when I saw both Republicans and Democrats universally heading north, they're universally pointing in one direction, universally saying, what were they saying? They put the little flags in there, put it in their phones. They put their little flags and their name, and we stand with Ukraine. I get it. I really do. I hurt for the innocent Ukrainian people. I do. I totally get it. I'm as anti-war as anybody it could ever be. Like I'm not a pacifist, but I'm like anti-war. Like you don't go to war at all, almost any cost. Don't go to war. However, if someone comes and punches me in the face, what do you think I'm going to do? Hold up a sign and a flag and say, no, I'm going to defend myself. What it comes down to, I guess, is who initiated the force. If you'll remember back in the Parker movie, I specifically asked Officer Brandon Speaks that exact question: who initiated the force? And if I do recall, he said, well, I think she initiated. No, I don't even remember what he said to that. But if I do remember asking him that question, but what he was saying is it is within, her parental rights, the blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it really looks like Putin's being a dick. And I'm not saying he's not. I mean, he's former KGB. Like, duh. If I'm not for the Republican or Democrat Party, I'm sure as hell not with the different, very Soviet parties. And that's what it looks like. He's, and that's what the news says, that it's unprovoked attack. And I get it. And if that's the case, then that's bad, bad, bad. But I have a feeling they lied to us, obviously, about the masks. The CDC, the last time I checked, they're like pulling them all off. Mandate's gone. What happened? I mean, one minute we've been 2 years the same old drip, drip, drip. Well, this is so and so. Well, Tom, we got the latest deaths and statistics on the COVID virus and blah blah blah. For 2 fucking years, we listened to that shit, and I still don't know anybody that died from it. And again, I'm not trying to sound insensitive. People die all the time. I mean, believe me, I know. Every time I got divorced, somebody in my family died within the week. But my point is, all of a sudden, you never hear about it. Like, where'd all this go? Where'd all this fear mongering go? Oh, that's right. It's still there. Except now we've got a new face to hate. It's like they're waiting on the text message. Okay, good morning, world. Good morning, world. Who am I supposed to be upset with and be outraged and offended by and hate today? Putin. I hate Putin. I just don't fall into that. He may truly be a dick. He may truly be a complete in the wrong asshole. But the point is, I haven't seen all the evidence. I haven't seen all the facts yet. I'm not even in the position to fully I'm not an expert in it. I'm certainly not Ukrainian. I'm certainly not Russian. I would imagine there are people who live in Ukraine and live in Russia, and they probably argue and bicker just like we do, but we don't know because we are being told one thing and maybe it is right. But you keep hearing these, if you look around, these the small people like me, like any of us, they're shutting me up, they're censoring me, they're like, how many, like RT, yes, it's called Russia Today, state sponsored media, I get it. They just got like shut the fuck down, like completely shut down in Australia, parts of Europe. And again, if your knee jerk reaction is, well, those are fucking Russians, that's sponsored by Putin, you must love Putin. I mean, how many fucking times I got to hear that? I've heard it a jillion times, and it's the same narrative. Okay, here we go. I've been dealing with one of these low IQ mouth breathers. You just love Putin. It's the same thing. Anytime I ever got into any kind of debate on social media, particularly Facebook, if I got like criticizing Donald Trump, oh, you must be a libtard. And now we've got, Sleepy Joe out there. Let's go, Brandon guy. Anytime I criticize or even just ask questions, oh, well, you're just a Trump tard. You lose the argument. Maybe you'll win those arguments when you're amongst the cast of idiocracy. But in the real world where there are people who do think, and sometimes people like give their opinions and their opinions get poof, they get shut down and muted. Like, how frustrating would it be for the 29 of you that happen to be here if all of a sudden I did this? And I just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. You'd be a little frustrated because, wait, what did he just say? What did he just say? I couldn't hear him. That's the same thing. It'd be like me doing this. Okay. Wait, what's happening? What's Caleb doing? Wait, he's trying to demonstrate. I want to see what Caleb's doing. What's he demonstrating here? I can't see anything. It's the same thing. You're like, wait, what just happened? When they're shutting down the other side. It's like, I'll give a firsthand example. I can attest to this because I've lived it. There are people out there, and I've proven it over and over, they just don't just dislike me, they hate me. They like hate me. They call my phone, they get my phone number, and they call and leave nasty voicemails. And I get accused constantly of deleting people and blocking people constantly. And I'm keyword blocking. I'm going to get back to that. I publish. I've got at least a dozen, maybe 2 dozen over the years where I just simply publish the criticism about me. I want people to question me. There's a reason I didn't edit any of my, like in some of my other videos, my joking videos. Yeah, I edit those, but like the Parker movie, Parker versus the Man, when Blaine got arrested, those, the big ones, I didn't edit any of that because I didn't want to be accused of, well, would you mind sending me a copy of that, and just so I can see how you edited that out, make it all in your favor? I don't want to get accused of that. Of course, I still get accused of it anyways. But in my defense, and a lot of other people have seen the same thing. Wait, you say we don't know the whole story. And yes, I get it. Not everyone knew the full story, but I can't just keep a live camera and a microphone on me 24/7, 7 days a week, my entire life. There's two sides of the story. Of course there is. I gave 72 minutes of unedited me sitting in the car, simply holding my phone. That was just one side. Yes, there are other sides to my story. Yes, there are things that have happened that I have not talked about. Some things that I don't talk about, I don't talk about for a reason, particularly like now, just a fine example, the my own pinned comment, please don't ask how are the kids. Please don't ask how's Parker, because the answer is Parker's fine. I'm not going to go into it. There's certain things that I do keep private, but of course there's an other side to the story. if somebody ever wanted to, I have to be careful what I say, talk to the other side and they want to talk to them and the other side wants to talk, by all means, have at it. I mean, I've got all my skeletons out in the closet. I mean, Jesus Christ, I used to be a drunk. I've talked about it till I'm blue in the face, but I'm not anymore. But and I see why some people hate me because they think that I'm hiding something. And yes, I admit there are things that I don't talk about. I'm just not, and I'm not going to talk about because there's reasons that I can't talk about that I can't even say because I'm not stupid enough to set myself up for a libel lawsuit. With the Russian thing, there is another side. I don't know what it is. In my case, I know what my side is. I know what happened to me. I've talked about it till I'm blue in the face. I've lived it. I know there's another side, and I've said what I can say without subjecting myself to getting sued yet again. And I'm just not going to do it. No matter how mad and how big of a hissy fit and how big of a tantrum some of these people who despise me, they're people that like make profiles like fuck Caleb Leverett or Caleb Leverrett's a liar or whatever they but y'all remember Kristen Megan? She texted me today this screenshot, and I don't know how she does it, but it's a long message, and it's like real skinny. It's really skinny and like real long, and it's about an interview. She interviewed me years ago, years and years ago, even before the Blaine stuff. If you Mary knows her, but um, Kristen was the one. She did my fundraiser and raised the. She operated and the whole GoFundMe thing, or it wasn't GoFundMe, it was a different brand, or I don't even remember what it was. But anyway, she operated all that and it paid for my lawyer in full. She texted me this picture of they found out that she'd interviewed me, and it was just hatred. It was just they just spewing hate. She said, "Oh my God, I thought I had some people that hated me. God, what did you do?" And we just had a big laugh. But speaking of Kristen, um, she and her husband and kiddos live in Michigan, and she's been on the front lines. I haven't kept up with everything because she's really intelligent. She's really busy, and I can't keep up with everything she does. But she's been against the fucking mask mandate since day one, and she is uniquely qualified to talk about it. Well, I asked her if she would mind coming on once I get all set up, and we'll have a little podcast and not talk about necessarily controversial things, just catch up. And we've just got a long history and we've just been friends for forever. And so look forward to Kristen being on here, and I just think it's just going to be so much fun because I've got such admiration for her because she just she's completely not selflessly just gave her time, and she'd go live and spread what's going on, my YouTube stuff all around, and she helped I'll generate a lot of eyes on my case, and I'll always be really thankful for her. So she's going to be coming on, I think. So anyways, I am 43 minutes in. I'm probably going to wrap this up here in just a bit. I would like to read a few of the comments if anybody has questions on certain things. Yes, Miss Mary, one of my Whomping Willows, Kristen, is an angel on earth. She is. That's not an exaggeration. She's a sweetheart. I just love her to pieces. SM Gamer, I wish one day I can get 100,000. I am working hard. How did you get that many? I assume you mean subscribers. I've just been around the block a long time. I had like 100 subscribers when I made my channel back in 2008, and I had maybe 150 up until that fateful day in May of 2013. And then I uploaded a 72-minute video called 14-Year-Old Parker Stands Up for His Rights. Cops say he's free to go with his mom or with his dad instead of mom. And it went viral. And it's still going viral. That's how I got there. Not everybody does that, and I didn't expect that. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if people were going to love me or hate me, but I wanted the truth out there. Have a great night. Just swing in to show some love. LDH Productions. Thank you very much. Panaglottis. I'm gonna have to get my eyes fixed. Do you still hate West Texas? I'm trying not to hate. I don't hate it. I just don't like it. I don't want to be there. It's ugly. It's really, really hot and really, really dry. And I had just a lot of bad experiences there. And there's nothing really to do there besides get fucked up in the bar and drive home drunk, which is what everybody there does. I don't hate it. It's just not my cup of tea. There's some good people still there. Judge Billingsley still in Odessa, Texas, in West Texas. So obviously, I love her to pieces. She's probably single-handedly going to turn that place around as far as the culture. She really does give a crap about the children. She really does. If anybody could turn it around, it would be her. I wouldn't be surprised if she runs for governor. And that's going to be really cool because I'm going to be personal friends with the governor of Texas. I watched those videos from Nan Poplowski. I watched those videos. Good for him. I was on his side. Well, thank you. Shadow Saya, have a good night. Adam Huber. Did I say that right? Huber. Have you ever been to Kentucky? I drove through it one time, but I've never really been there. There's Wicca. See, Albert Martinez. You and I both don't like West Texas. Albert sounds like he's had experience there. Sarah Jane. Thanks, Caleb. See you on your next video. I remember you. Well, thank you, Sarah Jane. I don't know. The baby car. Russian media has been telling the Russian people that Ukrainians have been welcoming their liberators with open arms and other propaganda. So I think that's why. Maybe so. The only way we'll know is if I hate to say that. I hate the collective we, but sometimes it is appropriate if we get the other side of the story, if we make it known that we want both sides, not just the whole Fox News, CNN, both sides. Like, we want the both sides. Like, people shit on RT all the time because that's funded by the state of Russia. Well, who do you think funds Fox News? Who do you think funds CNN and MSNBC and all the alphabet channels? They're based right here, and a lot of them have big, giant offices in Washington, D.C. And I don't know if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., but it is weird. Washington, D.C. is bizarre. That is the strangest place I have ever been in my life. It's like really, really creepy, and land is really, really expensive, and I'm not an expert on it, but yeah, the people who fund local channel, they're RT is funded by the state of Russia. I get it, but yeah, in maybe not directly, but this Fox News is in bed with the Republican Party. We all know it. MSNBC, CNN, they're all in bed with the DNC. We all know it. Called programming. Watch cooking shows all day. You'll make a pound cake. Yeah, that's part of my reasoning for getting rid of Facebook. It is programming. It's just, I don't know how many of y'all were here in the beginning, but I wasn't talking about the Russia stuff this whole time. It's just all propaganda. I just assume if I see it on the TV, it's bullshit. George Carlin was the king at pointing this out 30 fucking years ago. If you get a chance, look up on YouTube, George Carlin, They Got You by the Balls. And it will bring up probably the greatest stand-up skit of all time. It's not even necessarily funny. He's well known for being one of the greatest comics of all time. and there's something about comedy, there's always an essence of truth to it. I look at, yeah, some comedians are straight up funny, like Jim Carrey. To me, he's just funny. And the sad thing about it is he got a little weird, and people have said, well, he said some things that I don't agree with, so fuck Jim Carrey. Well, Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey. He's funny. He's a genuinely funny comic. But Carlin, he makes me laugh, but not, I don't know, it's a different kind. It's the shit he comes up with. He just he spits truth, and he doesn't care which political, but that's where I get a lot of where I'm at. He was a big influence on who I am now, is he doesn't associate and with a political party. He doesn't get up. He's dead now, but he didn't wake up. All right, what's the DNC or what's the Republican Party tell me to be pissed off or outraged and upset and offended by today? He just went by. He marched to the beat of his own drum. And I've been told that by a lot of people, both that like me and don't like me, that, well, Caleb, you're a little different. You definitely march to the beat, to your own beat, and to the beat of your own drum. And it's true. I know I do. And I know I'm weird. I know I'm a strange duck. I get it. In a kind of a sense, aren't we all a little bit? Miss Mary George Carlin. Why I don't vote. Yeah. Why he doesn't vote. I sit at home and what does he say? I can't. I stayed at home minding my own business. So whoever you put in, that's your fault. Jason Barakheim. Hi, everyone. Shannon Platinum. Love that you protect your kids and love what you do. You're a great dad. Well, thank you very much. Nan says George was great. He at least made you think, laugh, but then say shit that makes sense. Mrs. Comedy. I do too. That's one of my biggest regrets. I've got very few regrets. One of them being drinking. That's probably my biggest regret, that I ever was tempted by alcohol and I used it to go to sleep all those years and fight my depression. But one of my other regrets is I did not get the opportunity to go see George Carlin live. And it just kind of breaks my heart. I would have loved to have seen the man. I would have never got the opportunity to meet him, but that would have been like the coolest of cool, but I never got to see him. So, well, kids, it's 53 minutes in. Whatever did you do with that RV that you used to have years ago? The Millennium Falcon. I sold that. That got me through almost a year of looking for a job because oil field would boom and bust and boom and bust. And I bought that. And then it went down, and then it came back up for a little bit. And I bought another camper that was a little bit better. And then as soon as I bought that, I paid cash for it, like I do with everything. What little I have, I pay cash for it. And then it went just down to nothing. I moved to San Antonio. I didn't need 2 RVs, so I sold that and basically lived off of it for like a year while I was working for minimum wage for $7.25. Having been a business owner, and at the time 20 years in business or subcontracting, and I went to work for $7 an hour, $7.50 an hour, changing oil for an old man. It wasn't much and it wasn't fun, but the old man, his name was Alfredo, and Alfredo, he didn't have a lot to offer. He had a little shop, and he couldn't pay much, but he saved my ass. I'll give him that. I miss that old man. I have no idea how I'd ever find him. I don't even know if he's still alive, but anyways. Caleb, you're awesome. Love everything you do for your kids. My dad got divorced from my mom when I was 8. She went to, I assume that's the booze, a lot. He stayed home with us. Okay, that's that. I'm sorry to hear that. It just fucking sucks. I was tempted by alcohol because of the glamorization of alcohol by Hollywood. the prohibition of it in my family, like none of my family drank, none of them that I knew of. None of them. They were openly against drinking of any kind because apparently my uncles or great uncles were drunks, maybe something like that. I don't really remember. And so my immediate layer up family, my uncles and aunts, they were like all anti drinkers. And they shamed us and told us how terrible it was. And, we would have gotten, as a kid, I'd have gotten serious ass whipping trouble for even trying it, which all that did is just make me more curious about it. And once I hit my rebellion stage, which arguably I'm still in, I just said, well, fuck you. I'm going to try it anyways. And I thought I could tough it out. And you can't. Nobody can. Nobody's tougher than alcohol. I know some people get away with, the occasional drink and they keep it occasional for the rest of their lives and they're fine. But most people are not like that. Most people, when they get on it, they're hooked, which is going to be a regular part of my discussion. My topic of conversation on my new podcast is what the fuck is the definition of an alcoholic? It just depends on who you ask. Some people would say I'm an alcoholic. I choose to say I was an alcoholic. And I also choose to say that I'm no longer an alcoholic. I am not recovering. I am fucking recovered. And some people get irritated and mad and say, well, you can't say that because Dr. blah, blah, blah. He's a doctor. You're not a doctor. Says you can't, once you're an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Well, says who? Okay, well, I don't drink at all. And I've had these conversations with people. Well, I mean, I'd ask them, how much do you drink? Well, I only drink on weekends. Like every weekend? Like what, one beer? One 6-pack of beer? Oh, it just depends, but maybe a beer, two or three. And sometimes I'll go out and get shit faced with my buddies, but I don't ever drink during the week. Like never. I'll never drink. But on weekends and holidays and sick days and snow days. But they're not the alcoholic. I don't ever drink, like ever, ever, ever. So how silly is that to me to say that I am the alcoholic when I don't even drink and they drink somewhat regularly? Again, what does that mean? What does drinking regularly mean? One beer a week, one case of beer a week, one case of beer a month, one bottle of gin a month, one bottle of gin a year. What's drinking regularly really mean? Every day, every other day, one beer, 15 beers. So, I just like talking about stuff like that with people because, like many of you, I was raised around that saying, once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. And I just believe that. Speaking of other things that I no longer believe in, and if you're still here this late at night, you've probably heard me say it, and this tends to upset some people, and I see why. I don't think it should upset anybody, but I see why it does. Religion. We were all taught a certain religion. I just noticed something real quick. I'm going to do an experiment while I've got y'all here. I am showing y'all said y'all could hear me fine, and I've just noticed there's like only 2 bars showing up. I'm going to turn up the volume right here and see if that makes a difference. That one does not. I'm going to go mic level. I'm going to take it up here. Now, do you hear me any better at all? It doesn't show anymore. Volume 58, 60, 70, 80, 91, 93, 94, 95, 99. Level 99. I'm going to try to talk in the same voice. Let me know from here on. I know there's a delay. Can you hear me louder now than you could 1 minute ago? Wicca says loudly. Yes, it got louder. Mary, oh, cool. It's too loud. You were good before. Oh, okay. Thanks, Dave. That's. I thought I would need to be just beyond the 50% mark, but okay, I'm going to turn it back down. I was at like 42. I'm going to go to. There's 61. There's a happy medium. Now, starting now, this is level 61 versus 42 in the beginning and 100 at the end. Oh man, that sounds like you're yelling. Oops, sorry. Hold it a foot away from your mouth. Dave says that's good. Gamer gotta go says better. Okay, I'm just gonna put it right fucking at it. And just know that 40, I think it's 45. 45. I should have asked y'all this in the beginning. Okay. I totally lost my train of thought. Something reminded me to check that volume. Oh, I see it now. Oh, okay. My H4n Pro has got a lot better meter than the meter showing on my app. Yeah, interesting. There's old Pepe D's. I remember you. Okay, we're just over the hour mark, and I think I'm going to cut this short now because my back is hurting. I've got to get up and stretch, and I get complaints about dipping on camera because some people say when I dip and spit, I might as well be dropping my pants and farting. I did not know that it was that embarrassing to some people. So I'm still have not quit my dipping snuff, and I'm not have no plans to quit anytime soon. In fact, I found a place that not only sells cans of snuff, they sell these industrial size one, and it's like 12 fucking cans in this sucker. And no, they're not paying me to say that. That's a that's a big ass can of snuff. But me trying to be the appeasing, humble host and try not to offend certain people and have the equivalent of farting on air by spitting in my tobacco in the cup. I'm going to try to refrain from it, but I've been going on for over an hour and you can dip. It's a free country. Yes, I can, Dave. You're exactly right. David, look at Nan right above you doing the barf thing. Some people, it just grosses them out. Again, I've quit drinking. I quit eating Pringles. I quit eating junk food. Blaine's got me on this strict diet. He didn't have me on it, but I look at his body and he's built like a Greek god, and I want that. So I'm quit the junk food, which I never ate a whole lot of anyways, but I quit that. Um, I'm going to the gym. I'm making enough changes that I'm just not interested in giving this up. I've been doing this for 26, 27 years. So far, I do have some chipped teeth. I know they're probably, I could stand to go to the dentist and I probably will. If my podcast takes off, we shall see. But, okay, y'all talking about my mic. Okay. I don't know when I'm going to be live, but now that we are finally in a house and out of that little sailboat, Monday, this coming Monday, I guess that'd be the 7th is when some of the equipment starts rolling in, and by Friday till the following Monday is when I think the computer's the last thing to get in. Blaine and I are going to be setting up here in the living room, the formal, uh, the real, the studio, like I said, with sound blankets and lighting and professional cameras and professional microphones. And I might even quit wearing t-shirts. I might just, put on a nice button up. I don't know if I have any button ups. I've been living such a bum on the sailboat, and I don't miss it and I don't regret it. But so over the next week, Blaine and I are going to be setting this up. Maybe I'll go live, or maybe we'll just start recording. Maybe we'll have something up in a week. Maybe it'll take 2 weeks. I really don't know how long it's going to take, but my goal is to turn over a new leaf like I'm doing with everything else in my life and start a podcast where I can have guests and Maybe one of these days, Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson will bless me and come on my podcast because I am getting fascinated by what's on the other side, not only of life, but the other side of the universe. I've never been a big podcast listener, but I've been listening to him on Rogan of all people, and the guy is just fascinating. Nothing upsets him. People call him out on things, and he just smiles. And I just like Neil deGrasse Tyson, the way he holds himself and tells his corny jokes. And even if you start thinking, oh, you're kind of a nerd, but he could just blow your fucking mind with some statistics and the way he keeps his composure. And he's actually, I've seen him on like 4 or 5 other podcasts. He even on one podcast I watched, and I know I keep saying I'm gonna go, but y'all remember that girl, that race car driver chick, Danica Patrick? She's got her own podcast. And on her like third or fourth one, she invited him. He said yes, and she's like, "Oh my fucking god!" Neil deGrasse Tyson just said he come. She's like intimidated, and he said, "Well, I actually prefer going on the newer podcasts because there's a whole new chance to teach people, and he's a teacher, and he wants to teach what he teaches to a whole new level, a whole different audience." And Neil, if you're listening, if somebody ever sends this as part of the clip to you, my studio won't always be this cheesy, tiny little room with the cheap lines back here. Blaine and I are going to work our little asses off and get it looking nice and sounding nice. And I would love to have Neil deGrasse Tyson, maybe not my first guest, but second guest, third guest, 10th guest. I'm not going to be picky. So anyway, everybody take care. Y'all been great. Thanks for helping me out. Messing with the volume and stuff, and anyway, I just enjoy talking with people. It's so much better to just visit with people and say what's on your mind and be able to come across your full what you mean to say. Unlike on Facebook where people take things the wrong way. And anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take care. Bye. And I always forget how to stop the damn thing. In stream. End. Bye.